In this video, I'm going to show you how one of the most important principles in Tai Chi, avoiding double weighting, can dramatically improve your posture, reduce joint strain, and transform the way you walk and move through everyday life. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dr. Todd Martin. In today's video, we're going to clear up one of the most confusing concepts in Tai Chi, how to avoid being double weighted. This is a concept that even experienced Tai Chi practitioners often have trouble explaining what it means in the body. And it's a concept that is important outside of Tai Chi because it is essential for proper posture and balance for all of us who are walking around on two legs. If I drop into a Tai Chi horse stance with my spine in between the two legs, it can be confusing to understand where my weight is in an energetic sense. Now, my center of gravity is between the 2 feet, but I only have root on one leg. I liken this to a tether or an anchor. And that anchor should be going from my spine through one leg and into the ground. When that happens, it allows me to have proper alignment of my spine and fluid movement around that anchor. And in this particular situation, I am anchored to my right leg, and I can move around the right leg fluidly. I can even step around it in a circle, and I have clear movement doing that. But if we're not clear on where the root is, let's say I am tethered or anchored to my right leg and I'm tethered and anchored to my left leg, now I am stuck. I can't move clearly and I'm very easily thrown off balance. My tether or root is created dynamically using my lower abdominal muscles. Those lower abdominal muscles, primarily the internal oblique I'm talking about, rotate either to the left or to the right. My left internal obliques turn back and to the left, and they also tuck the pelvis under at the same time. The activation of those muscles rotate the spine and pelvis back toward the ground on that side, projecting energy into the ground. And we only do this on one side at a time, allowing us to be rooted continually on one leg even as we move around it. Why it has to be on just one leg at a time is more than just the ability to flow around a tethered axis. It also has to do with the function of the lower abs, which tuck the pelvis under. I just showed tucking on one side brings our pelvis into a neutral position, helping keep our spine aligned. But if I tuck the pelvis on the other side, now I have a double tucking situation, which begins to throw me off balance, pulling the pelvis forward. In a very practical sense, this results in the following compensation, because we all don't want to fall on the ground, and so we automatically compensate if we're doing something incorrectly. So as I activate my lower abs on the left and my lower abs on the right, I begin to fall forward, so I now sink my chest back to compensate for my pelvis moving too far forward, and then now I have what we call a slouching posture. And so this is the posture that we use to compensate for double rooting. We can also fail to root on either side. And that means we don't have activation of the lower abs on the left or the right. And that leads to the opposite problem, or the pelvis falling backward this way and creating instability. And the compensation there is to lean forward from the upper waist. And so now this is my compensated lack of rooting, which can lead to a very shuffling sort of gait, or more commonly for young people, they compensate for the lack of root by engaging the glutes to push the body up. And this creates what we call a lordotic posture or anterior pelvic tilt. This is also a dysfunctional way of moving and standing that can lead to chronic problems of spinal pain and other types of joint issues. We can help prevent some of these postural problems by practicing certain disciplines like Tai Chi. And I'm going to go into some more detail of the Tai Chi rooting and how we can do it in real life by exploring the example of moving from the apparent close-up through cross hands into a horse stance that we would do in the Tai Chi Yang style 24 form. Now let's take a closer look at how this principle plays out in Tai Chi. I'm going to walk you through a short sequence from the 108 form, starting with apparent close-up and flowing into cross hands. Watch how the root shifts with each movement. I'll break it down step by step so you can really feel how staying anchored transforms your posture, control, and balance. Every movement we make begins with a choice: where to place the root. It's not something you can see with your eyes because both feet may be on the ground, but root is not automatic. It must be created by intention, by awareness, and by training. The root comes from the lower abdomen, anchoring the body on one side or the other. Sometimes it shifts with each step. Other times it stays on the same leg while the rest of the body flows around it. The root can land on the front leg or the back leg, depending on the purpose of the movement. Learning to feel this is a skill, a powerful one, because once you learn to root, your movement gains stability, purpose, and flow. There are a few visual clues you can rely on most of the time. For example, when pivoting, it's safest and most efficient to pivot on the leg that is not rooted. This protects the knees and maintains balance. This final outward pivot of the right foot is visual evidence that the root is even more important than where the weight is positioned. Another visual clue is when taking a step, the root will generally be on the standing leg, the one physically connected to the ground. Now we're going to go into cross hands. I'm going to turn around. As I do this, I'm turning the root to the right. From here, my root's going to the right. And then now, in this part of the motion where my foot is going to turn out that way, I'm going to take the root off the right, and I'm going to turn it to the left. That unweighted my right leg and let it pivot out. Now I'm going to shift the weight back by flexing my right hip and turning the upper waist to the right. Root is on the left. And then I get to horse stance by turning the upper waist from right to left. That brings me to a horse stance, but my root was on the left the whole time. So now you can see my root is on the left. My lower abs are going to the left. That is the leg that is rooted to the ground. There is no root on my right leg, so no energetic weight on the right leg. So I'm not double weighted. I have weight only on the left. If I were to add root on the right at the same time, it would collapse my position because it would over tilt my pelvis backward and cause me to fall forward. So from the side view, we get into a horse stance. I'm rooted on the left. If I add root to the right, that would be the result, a total unstable position. So that is the meaning of double weightedness, or avoiding being double weighted. It's avoiding being rooted on both legs at the same time, and that root is controlled by your lower ab rotation. If you found this helpful, go ahead and click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber, and drop me a comment and let me know what you think. In the Tai Chi Code, I always want to draw a connection between movements in Tai Chi and movements in our daily lives, because I think by translating good movement in Tai Chi, good internal energy understanding, we can make our daily posture, our walking technique in our regular life smooth, aligned, and low impact. So we have no pressure on our knees when we're walking, our back is aligned, we're not leaning forward and crashing into steps, we are not walking duck-footed with poor arm posture. We have proper internal movement because we have translated the Tai Chi movements into our daily lives. Understanding how to avoid double weighting doesn't just deepen your Tai Chi, it changes how you walk, stand, and move through the world.